collectors, welcome back to the channel. Now today is something quite special. I'm joined with my very good friend Megazord Prime. I think we decided to actually name this our new collab series together. I guess toy topic, Transformers topic, something like that. But this is Megazord Prime, so he's my good friend, and yeah, how you doing?
Tired, not bad.
Yeah, I had a bit of an interesting day myself, but um, basically, if you don't know who I am, I'm Figure Seeker. I've been around just for a little bit. First and foremost, my channel is all about Transformers toys, and things of that nature. But lately, I've just decided to branch out a little bit, talking about Star Wars or anything like that. And Megazord Prime here is super into Transformers, as you can see, and Power Rangers and a whole bunch of stuff. So, Megazord, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Megazord Prime. I've been around YouTube for quite a while, but I've just recently started posting myself. I've only got a handful of videos out for now. Channel's mostly Transformers right now. I've been trying to work a couple other things in there, like big on Power Rangers. So I got one Power Ranger review on there. Depending on how those goes, I might move into Marvel and DC, but for now I'm just sticking to the two, so that way it's a little more streamlined for now.
Yeah, I'd say like I know next to nothing about Power Rangers. I'm going to be totally honest. As a kid, I watched Dino Thunder, but that was about it. As far as Marvel goes, haven't read any of the comics. I know that's blasphemy, but all I know is MCU related stuff. But um, I think what I will do, actually, no, I will actually put your channel, uh, the what do you call it? The URL in the description of every episode.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking here, but um, so what do you think about the latest reveals or the latest things that we've seen? Studio Series 86, or just Studio Series in general for 2026.
For Studio Series, I'm I'm kind of mixed on it right now. I'm kind of interested in see what they do with Nexus Prime. I saw that he was listed as a Voyager, and with their recent combiners, Onslaught coming up, and Superion showing up in shelves, and Menasor of the Past all being Commander class. I thought we were kind of done with the combiners using a Voyager as a torso because it's generally makes it too small unless they intend to use core class for the limbs.
That would be way too
Um,
small. I would not
it
like
would
that.
be. I'm not sure how they're going to go about that. I mean, the recent releases of the primes have looked really good. Onyx Prime looks amazing. Prima and Solus look pretty decent. Nothing that's blown me away there, but I'm hoping they don't drop the ball on Nexus. We've only have one Nexus Prime, and he was like a TFCC exclusive or a Botcom exclusive. He was really hard to get. He's completely translucent plastic, so he's about as fragile as glass.
Yeah. I mean, as far as combiners go, for the most part, I think Superion looked not too bad, despite that he's basically a heavy remold of Menasor. And Devastator actually looks pretty sick. I have my critiques, just very minor critiques, but he looks fantastic.
I've Out of all the combiners, like I understand they're trying to go for show accuracy with them. I'm not a big show accuracy person. There's a lot that gets sacrificed for that. I loved what they did with Combiner Wars with all of its flaws and many flaws that it had. I like the fact that they gave them a little more of their own personality away from the show because, like, I loved Menasor, the what is it, Legacy Menasor?
Yes.
Yeah, he was great, but when you're done combining him, you got leftover pieces that just go in a bin.
Yeah, that's what upset me a little bit. Don't get me wrong. No matter what, I would absolutely love. I still love the Hasbro Transformers. I still have a passion for talking about Hasbro. I think I just finally had enough of the shortcuts, if you know what I mean. I will always love Hasbro Transformers. But at the same time, I kind of didn't want a basement that looks kind of like yours. I don't
It
have
is a
very
cluttered mess.
I don't have nearly as much space. Basically, what you see on camera, multiply that by like 4. That's my space essentially.
This is just my office. It covers the rest of the basement, and it is definitely a mess, but it's a lovely mess.
It's a heavenly plastic crack mess.
That it
I've
is.
been to your house. You can't even see the floor essentially,
There's a
but
there's a walkway.
there's a walkway. Yeah, but everywhere you turn, you're just like, oh,
Yes,
I got that one.
that is that is from a lifetime of collecting since I was a child.
Yeah. So,
But
what?
then, going back to the combiners, it's like you get to Superion and he looks fantastic combined mode, but you look at the individual jet modes and some are okay. Slingshot looks good. Air Raid's okay. Silverbolt looks like the Millennium Falcon almost with a giant chunk of combiner hanging off the back of him.
The jet trailer, I guess.
Yes, essentially.
A little bit of
Yes.
junk in the trunk there, Silverbolt.
Yeah. Now, you're looking at the Constructicons, they're doing it a little differently, and they do look really good, but then you got a giant dump truck literally
It's a big ass on
Devastator's
that jet.
hanging off the back of Devastator's dumpy.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Combiner Wars with all its faults on the Devastator, at least it was completely kibble free for the most part on the back.
Yeah, and then the individual bot modes like Long Haul, he was a chonky boy.
Yeah, and then with his new one, Long Haul now has to carry also a giant trailer full of combiner parts, and it's a real big mixed bag. Everybody wants their animation accuracy, but then you sacrifice it for the toys.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be shortcuts somewhere. It depends on the individual collector. If you don't mind having those sacrifices, but at the same time, it depends on where those sacrifices are.
Yeah,
Like
no, I'm not a big.
what would you rather? Would you rather have a shitty combine mode, which like barely anybody want that because that's the crown jewel piece. That's, the center main thing you want to display your figure
That's
as
true.
because I think most collectors, like myself, despite the fact I love clean alt modes, most collectors would actually want shitty looking alt modes, and then having a fantastic robot mode and an even better combined mode.
And that is a hard balance to get there because you look at the Combiner Wars Menasor and combined mode, and it's not good.
And mix that with Hasbro budgets. So,
Yeah, but then you look at the Combiner Wars like Defensor and Superion, and they're pretty darn good.
now, very short explanation once again why I decided to go for third party masterpiece stuff. Basically, they engineer each figure in a way where they try and perfect all the available modes, no matter what figure it is, because the budget is much higher. Granted, you're paying premium prices, but you get a premium figure most of the time.
That is true. You do get a much nicer figure, but you're paying for it though.
Oh yeah, and I think from now on I would rather own a select few, or at least, I don't know, I want to say at most 20, 30 figures, but each of them over $100 in price. But I'd be collecting them gradually, maybe only getting 1 or 2 figures a month, just depending on my budget at the time. But there's absolutely no denying, in my opinion, that the what was it, like the Magic Square, for example, and Fans Toys, those are gorgeous figures, absolutely amazing. Granted, the transformation will take you about an hour and a half to complete, but it's a matter of personal preference.
Yeah, for me, I don't mind paying the $20-$30. Yeah, you sacrifice, the quality you would get out of like a third party and the more accuracy you get out of a third party. But you don't see third parties doing things like Armada Red Alert here. I absolutely love this figure. Armada is my favorite Transformers series.
Right.
Is this perfect as the original one? No, it's missing some stuff, but I'm just happy to have it. It's representation that nobody else is really going to do. Nobody else is a huge fan of Armada. Most people don't even like it. Um,
I got a good friend that's a huge Armada fan, and first and foremost, that's what he likes. That and Beast Wars.
I do love Beast Wars. It is, and that's one thing that I like that Hasbro's doing with this Legacy lines, giving love to these series that are maybe not as popular as G1 or the movie line. We're getting Beast Wars. I mean, we're getting things like I never thought I'd get a Pterosaur again. This was my first Beast Wars figure as a kid, and getting a new version of it is just heavenly to me.
Right.
Getting things like Armada Red Alert and Armada Prime in today's day and age is just incredible to me. That was I grew up with G1, but I just Armada is what I fell in love with.
Yeah. My journey to the Transformers fandom is very different. I didn't start liking Transformers until 2007's Michael Bay film. Let that sink in, pal. I was all about Star Wars ever since I was 3 years old. My father introduced me to Star Wars, introduced me to X Games, Tony Hawk. I was all about playing Star Wars games and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I didn't pay attention to anything but that until, of course, there's Spider-Man and stuff like that, but I didn't like G1 at all at first because it was an 80s cartoon. I was so young, I didn't appreciate the genius behind it and the story. I just didn't like the boxy nature of it, how unrealistic it was. But until that Michael Bay movie where it was live action, I just blew me away. And that was my start, and then years later, I quickly found out there was so much better to offer, and I'm a huge G1 fan, so as you can see.
I completely agree with that, actually. There's so much about G1. I think people get lost in nostalgia. People get lost in what they remember as a kid, and I think they realize that, or don't realize that, how goofy G1 was. I mean, Sea Spray being
Very.
human. Um, it was just, it was very Saturday morning cartoon, and I don't think people remember how silly it was. And as much as I love G1s, that's what I started with. It's far from my favorite. I think there's many series like Prime that's so much better than G1. I enjoy most of the Armada trilogy, minus Energon, um, better
I
than
still haven't watched that.
G1. I enjoy the storylines of Beast Wars, even though the animation has poorly held up over the years. I mean, that scene where Dinobot dies, that dialogue that he gives is just for the history books and the Transformers lore.
Right.
You don't get any of that G1. I mean, the most things I think people miss out of G1 is that 1986 movie.
Right.
That was it. Everything else, you don't see people referencing stuff from the cartoon. It's always usually the movie.
That big impact of Optimus Prime's death.
That was huge.
It was huge, but I never had that moment. Except Revenge of the Fallen. That's when I had my Prime death moment. I
That was
okay, that was, back in, what was it, 2009? I think I was, yeah, was I a freshman or a junior? I can't remember. But I had my moment. I got emotional. I didn't tear up like the 80s kids did. But I'm just like, oh, God. Oh, no, my boy. But, yeah,
and then we,
I was thinking to myself, he has to come back. But in the 80s, we went for how long until Hasbro decided to finally bring him back? So,
quite a few episodes before the Return of Optimus Prime came out.
yeah.
The movie kind of hastened that a little bit by bringing him back towards the end of the movie. But
We screwed up. Oh, fix it.
yeah,
Yeah. Bunch of angry
and
mom letters to Hasbro.
honestly, I didn't much care for that. Like, if you're gonna go bold and kill off a character like Optimus Prime to give Rodimus Prime a time to shine, let him shine. Let Optimus Prime go for a while. But they didn't even do that in the animated show. So
Right. Or they could have done the Luke Skywalker or the Indiana Jones route. Basically, turning our favorite legacy characters into pathetic, rundown shadows of their former selves, and then interject a spry, new, upbeat character that, we're supposed to like, but end up hating.
Yeah. I see. I ended up growing up to be a huge Rodimus Prime fan. I just thought the concept of the young bot growing up to be the leader and have the mantle of Prime was just really cool. And
Right.
then they kind of just shat on that by bringing Prime back, Optimus back.
Well, yeah. It's a double-edged sword. I do get what you mean about Hot Rod. Kind of like Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. A farm boy who has huge dreams, and he keeps failing over and over and over until he learns and trains and takes on the bad guy. In that case, his father, and then in turn the Emperor. But um, uh, Hot Rod, to me, I'm not really much of a fan of, just because of what they did to Prime. But I think I'm a much larger fan of Hot Rod than I ever will be for Rodimus Prime. Because
Same for me.
Rodimus Prime wasn't really a leader. He was, to me, he always thinked. Well, granted, he um, could never live up to Prime, to Optimus, and it definitely showed that he questioned his own leadership skills. But I think the way they brought Prime back, I completely agree. It was rushed. I think that Hasbro basically screwed over Rodimus in a way.
Yeah, I think they definitely killed his time to shine. I think, I mean, Optimus had millions of years to adapt to the mantle of Prime. So where he was very confident in himself, Rodimus had only had it for not even a year. He didn't even have much time to grow into it and become the leader that he could have been. We don't see Rodimus really become, a leader and have the confidence of Prime or Optimus until Energon.
Right.
Energon's when you get to see Rodimus completely disagree with some of the things that Optimus is doing and fight Optimus and actually hold his own. That's something we could have got if they would have stuck with him a little bit longer instead of giving up on him.
Right. I still think to this day the greatest Transformers story ever told would have to be Transformers Prime. That, in my opinion, is S tier. Better than G1, story wise. Um, but there are a lot of shows out there that I still haven't seen because I'm very selective on what I watch, or I just don't have the ability to watch them. Like Transformers Energon, Transformers Cybertron, Beast Machines.
Ooh, Beast Machines was rough.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
gonna
I
lie to
hear
you,
that's
Beast Machines
that's
was rough.
um
Had its moments, but it was rough.
I've seen like the first 5 episodes of Beast Wars, and I just couldn't continue. Uh, Only because I recently tried watching it for the first time. I didn't see it back then because back then the animation was brand new. It was hot shit. It was amazing. Now it's kind of hard to look at, if
It
I'm
is
being
rough to look
perfectly
at.
honest.
No, you're right. It is not aged well. At the time, yeah, that CGI was new. It was
Computer
awesome as a
generated.
kid. It blew my mind. But now looking at it, you watch it for the story. Beast Wars has a good story, but the animation, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, most
Um,
of the shows coming out nowadays for Transformers is just not good. I mean, Earthspark is terrible. Cyberverse was okay.
that's
RID
another one I didn't see.
2015 RID 2015 was not good in my opinion. I mean, they haven't had a good Transformer since Prime.
I really tried to like Earthspark. I loved the very beginning, how it referenced G1, and it's supposed to be in that same timeline. It's supposed to take place in the current day after G1. But until they started talking about certain things they shouldn't mention, especially in a kids cartoon, if you know what I'm talking about, you know. So something I don't agree with. But uh, I kept going, I kept watching, but I don't know. I just couldn't continue.
It was rough. The toy now see the toys for all of these shows I think are pretty good still. I bought all the Earthspark toys, at least the deluxe figures and stuff. I thought was pretty good. Um, but I just can't bring myself to watch the show anymore. Ever since Prime, it's just because I believe after Prime came RID 2015, I didn't like it.
Right.
Cyberverse was a little better. I didn't like Earthspark.
Right.
And
I
before Prime, the only Transformers series that I wasn't a huge fan of was Energon and Beast Machines.
right. Yeah. When the Bay films came out, like I said, that was where I got my start. That was my complete focus on Transformers. I wasn't watching or really doing anything except playing the Cybertron games. The Bay former movies. I even liked Revenge of the Fallen very much because I was super hyped. I loved the visuals. The story was dog shit, like it still is, but I loved the character of Sam Witwicky, Michaela. I mean, Megan Fox. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
At the time, she was fine, but now,
she still ain't bad.
she still ain't bad. But anyway, off topic. The first Transformers 2007 was phenomenal, blew me away, and the second one I liked just a little bit more because there was a lot more characters. And yes, that was my first time ever seeing Devastator. It was
Oh
rough.
wow.
It was rough. Well, I mean, I knew of Devastator's existence, but while being a Transformers fan.
You know, I didn't hate Revenge of the Fallen Devastator like a lot of people did. I hated the ball joke. That was dumb.
I'm directly below the enemy scrotum.
Yeah. The
It,
rest of him I thought looked kind of cool.
the worst jokes in that movie would have to be when Sam was in college. Um, you know, when Sam's mom decided to start eating substance and she got all loopy and talking about, Sam and Michaela's relationship while they were alone. And I didn't really need that. It's something, in my opinion, that has plagued the Bay films. I've never been a fan of that injected in your face humor. I just think Michael Bay wanted it in there because he thought it was funny. But
And a lot of inappropriate jokes.
yeah, like Wheelie humping Michaela's leg, for example, I could have done without that.
That was absolutely dumb. Like I didn't. So I don't. I'm a little easier to please. I don't think there is a bad Transformers movie. There's some not as good as others. I didn't have the hate for Revenge of the Fallen as some other people did. I enjoyed it. I didn't have the hate for Age or The Last Night as much as other people did. They're
Right.
not as good as other ones, but I found something enjoyable about them that made me want to keep watching.
Dark of the Moon was a masterpiece. I
Dark of the Moon was very
loved
good.
Dark of the Moon.
I think the
Absolutely.
best. See, I think the best Transformers movie is probably the '07 movie, Dark of the Moon, and I really enjoyed Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah. Um,
Those are probably the three I would say is just top tier.
right. So, um, Age of Extinction was, eh, it was okay. I was very disappointed about the Dinobots. I was really hoping they would at least
Yes.
talk.
I was very disappointed how they handled the dino. I was glad to see some new Dinobots. I loved Spinosaurus being my favorite dinosaur. I liked Scorn, but they sure did nothing with them.
Yeah, they did nothing with them. They basically it was just this, hot thing that they were trying out.
It
Um,
was a plot point to put
yeah,
Optimus Prime on the back of a dinosaur is all it was.
yeah. The last night we don't really need to talk about. But the
I really enjoyed the last night, actually. I really
if
did.
if they would have stayed with the night plot point and not had like five other plot points going on at the same time, then
I can
I
agree.
would have loved it so much more. Uh, that could have had something to do with Unicron still.
Hmm.
But you can tell Michael Bay did not want to make that movie.
No, no, you can
Every
definitely tell the
everything
shortcomings.
contradicted itself. Everything contradicted each other, and it didn't really line up. But the one thing I genuinely loved about The Last Knight was Megatron.
Mm,
Frank Welker
I
and just the design of Megatron, they brought back his iconic, fusion cannon, and he looked like a freaking champion of Kaon.
He looked good. I absolutely detested how they did the Nemesis Prime story.
Yeah,
I hated that. That was just not Nemesis Prime.
yeah.
In fact,
Um,
nobody even knew that was Nemesis Prime until one scene where Optimus was like, "I'm Nemesis Prime." I'm like,
that was
okay,
something that really pissed me off throughout the whole movie. I am Optimus Prime. I am Optimus Prime. Did you forget who I am? I am Optimus Prime. Oh, now I'm Nemesis Prime.
yeah,
Now I'm
that's exactly
Optimus
what I'm
Prime
talking
again.
about.
Just in case
I
we
absolutely
forgot
hate that.
during the movie. I think they
Yeah, they
did
should have.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
They should have saved it. They should have. They should have saved Nemesis Prime for the Rise of the Beast storyline instead of that being Scourge. That could have been Nemesis Prime.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That would have made better sense.
I think the reason why they kept having Peter Cullen say I'm Optimus Prime throughout the film is because they know people would fall asleep during it. Just as a
Maybe.
reminder.
But let's be real. Let's be real. The only reason why anybody should watch it or enjoy The Last Night at all is for Cogman. Cogman was the show.
Now you're both on my shit list.
Love me some Cogman all day.
Just one single mention of him being a headmaster, and they didn't do anything with it. I would have loved for him to, I don't know, maybe the car he was driving, at least make that a transtector. Make him
There was a
make him control that, there was a toy, yeah, I know, but they never
yeah.
did anything with it.
Supposedly there's some cut scenes where that car was supposed to transform and you see Cogman become the head for it, but that's just
Okay.
all rumor.
Well, it would have been cool either way. But Bumblebee was masterful. It wasn't as high budget, it wasn't as explosive as the others, but the story had a lot of heart to it, and it brought back the G1 designs in live action, and I think that would have to be my all-time favorite live action Transformers. Just because we had that Cybertron scene at the beginning.
That was the movie for me. That was it. I didn't like the Bumblebee movie. It's my least favorite of all the Transformer movies. It was slow, it was boring, not enough Transformers other than Bumblebee and the two chasing him. The beginning of the movie, I watched the Cybertron fight and I was done with the movie after that.
Yeah, that scene was well worth the price of admission. That was the whole movie right there.
That was the only part of them. You could watch that one scene and be done.
Yeah. And I think when I was in the theater, when I heard Soundwave say Ravage eject, I got goosebumps.
That was good.
And then the voice of Shockwave, I don't know if that was the same guy, but that was damn close.
I don't know if that's the same guy or not.
It sounded very close, but later on when I learned how they treated Peter Cullen, it sounds very close to Peter Cullen, but that's actually not him.
Really?
It was somebody else. They emulated his voice.
I did not know
They
that.
basically told Peter, "We don't need you."
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I don't know exactly how it happened. I'm sure one of you guys out in the comments just let me know what exactly happened because I'm pretty sure it was something like that.
Hmm. That's crazy. This whole time I didn't know that.
Yeah, it makes you feel a little bit different now, doesn't it?
It really does, actually.
But
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Peter Cullen fanboy. I know there's been other Optimus Prime voices I've really enjoyed. I really like me some Gary Chalk, who did Primal.
yeah,
But do my man Peter Cullen right, though. Come on.
right. I mean, without Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, there is no Transformers. There just isn't. At least not in the G1 type of stuff. You can't have Optimus Prime without Peter Cullen. Now,
No.
Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Let's talk about that real quick. That was a fantastic movie and a fantastic Transformers movie. But the one thing that still pisses me off, can you guess what that is?
What's that?
Wheeljack.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we were in agreement. We don't call him Wheeljack anymore. That's Pablo.
Oh yes, Pablo. Sorry. Yes, yes,
That is not Wheeljack.
Pablo. Even though he was mentioned by name, or they could just be
I
referring to the real Wheeljack.
I could see the Dark of the Moon Q slash Wheeljack being closer to Wheeljack than Pablo.
Yeah, Einstein Wheeljack.
Yeah, which mine just shipped by the way, so I'm waiting on that to come in.
Ooh,
Put that next to my original Dark of the Moon one and compare them. Might be my next video.
I think the last Hasbro figure I still have would be I damn it, I forget his name. Fort Max.
Mm.
Uh, I do have like 3 or 4 that I'm keeping for myself. Just you can see one of them right there, 86 Bumblebee.
That
Uh,
is a good Bumblebee. I saw people posting on the leaks that they're re-releasing. Is it Prime Cliff Jumper or is it Studio Series Cliff Jumper?
the 2026 stuff.
Yeah.
That I believe is a reissue of 86 Cliffjumper.
Now,
They're redoing the Buzzworthy. I think
see, now is it going to be a redo of Buzzworthy, or are they actually going to remold the Bumblebee you got over there into Cliff Jumper? I'm kind of curious about that.
that is what I'm hoping.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. By the way, I am still working on your custom. By the way,
Oh yeah, I'm
so
excited for that.
I didn't get much done so far, but I've been gradually making some progress.
I mean, if you can't tell, I'm quite a fan of some of your custom seekers here.
Yeah, all it was just these markers here from Walmart. Just yeah, that's all it was.
They
Nothing,
work real well though.
nothing special. I was scared to spray paint them.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, so I played it safe. So I mean, it serves its purpose.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know everybody keeps saying that it's supposed to be just a reissue of this Cliff Jumper right here, but I
that's
just don't see them reissuing this a third time. I generally think it could be a re mold slash repaint of the Studio Series Bumblebee we just got. Because why not?
that would be
I mean,
ideal, but they did reissue Perceptor 3 times.
oh yeah, I did forget about that. Because I know, like when we got the Studio Series Bumblebee, the one that you got sitting up there, I thought they were just going to be reissuing the Volkswagen Bumblebee that we got from the Walmart Netflix line, and it ended up being that one.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll hold out some hope, and the Clip Jump will be a remold of that one.
I'm extremely curious to see what Soundwave, Shockwave, uh, oh, who else? Astro Train. I'm hoping and praying that it's a whole new mold and not
Yeah,
the
I'm hoping
reused Siege version. It
we
can't
need a
be.
new Soundwave mold. They've got to make a new Soundwave mold. That thing has been done to death by now.
Well, rumor has it this 86 Soundwave will be a completely new mold, and supposedly, according to Hasbro in an interview, they said he will be able to hold 2 cassette tapes in his chest.
Oh, so kind of like the Sound Blaster version.
Yeah, but they're saying not with the, the chest jetting out further.
Yeah, Sound Blasters jetted out real bad.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for a better. I mean, I really like the original Astro Train from Siege for what it was, but I'd rather have a better one where a chunk of Astro Train just doesn't come off of him.
Right.
So I do hope that's a new mold.
That is pretty common amongst Hasbro Transformers. Like what we were saying earlier, if we want any one of the modes to look better, a piece has to be set off to the side due to budget reasons or design reasons, because they have the folks over at Takara. They seem to be the ones that design the better figures, in my opinion, and the
Yeah.
designers here just kind of suck sometimes. But
Supposedly, what their compromise was is Takara now works with Hasbro to make figures together. At least that's what they keep saying on the Hasbro when they reveal their figures. What's that called?
Hasbro Pulse,
Yeah, Pulse Talk or whatever.
yeah,
Because he's always talked. Was the one guy's always like, "This was designed with this guy from Takara," And I'm like, so is Takara just dumbing themselves down so that way Hasbro stuff works too? Like, what are we doing? It's not the same quality as it used to be.
Right. And that's part of the reason why I sort of fell out of love with collecting them, because over time the figures have gotten so much smaller and much more expensive. Do you remember,
Yes, I
like, in my opinion, Transformer toys were at their prime, no pun intended, but during Revenge of the Fallen. You had action figures like, oh, I want to say, what's a good example? Okay, let me use 86 Commander Prime, for example. So this is a Commander class. So take away the trailer and everything. This is essentially the size of a leader, give or take. But the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime was approximately going from the bottom of this Prime's feet to like right there ish.
yeah.
And plus, he had lights and sounds and working gears in his chest. Like there was that lever you pulled down on his abs, and his head lifts up and his chest opens slightly. Lights and sounds go off. He says, "I'm Optimus Prime." I think it
You
was
know,
called the Mech Alive gimmick.
I think so. Yeah. And I've got a perfect example right here. I have Armada, an Armada figure. Well, technically this is Universe Ultra Magnus, but it's a repaint of an Armada Prime. And this was the deluxe back then. This was your $10, $15 price point, which is like $20 now. And this is a modern day Voyager. Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
It is smaller than our old deluxes back in the Armada days. And this had a whole special feature and gimmicks and came with a whole minicam.
Yeah.
And we just don't get. So, I mean, I get that they're trying to say there's more articulation in these, and there is, but we're sacrificing articulation for size, and I would rather have less. I mean, this guy for its time had some amazing articulation. You have ankle tilt, you have waist swivel, you have arm swivel, you got everything in this guy alone that most modern figures have. Knee joints.
You know what
You
else?
tell me.
You know what else modern figures have? Hollow spaces.
There's not a single hollow space on this guy anywhere.
Solid.
Solid as can be. Now that is a complaint I can 100% agree with. This guy, actually, this is probably not a great example. He doesn't have very many hollows. He's got a little hollow spot in his thigh, and that's about it.
It's
But
like you have a shitload of examples back there behind you, but you ain't gonna dig through that. Uh,
yeah,
but that was one of many reasons. The figures these days feel super, super light and cheap
they do.
and small. Um, I think that's after seeing Superion. I was really excited for Superion, and I was just disappointed to the part or to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it anymore. I have experience in collecting third-party masterpiece stuff in the past, like the Transform Element Optimus Prime. If you don't know what that is, check it out. It's freaking awesome. He doesn't come with a trailer, but he's a spectacular looking figure. But
And a lot of people are marking the Commander class Optimus that just came out as like the most premier version of an Optimus Prime that Hasbro's ever done. Um, I'm still a bigger fan of Earthspark Optimus Prime myself. I like the more modern look than the complete and total G1 cartoon accuracy.
it's sort of a blend of both. You know, it's
Hmm.
it's G1 esque, but an updated look. Kind of like what they
Yeah,
did with the 2007 Bayverse Prime to Transformers Prime version of Optimus. They blended the live action and the animation design together.
yeah. I'm just a bigger fan of the Earthrise version. I'd like all the detailing and the molding. Um, yeah, it's not as big, and the trailer looks better on the Commander Studio Series version, but I don't know. I just kind of prefer the Earthspark one. Earthspark. Earthrise.
Right. I was a huge fan of the War for Cybertron trilogy line. Huge fan. Um,
Yeah.
and to be honest, at the very beginning, I hated Studio Series because that was a major step down from the toys coming out during the Bayformer movies as they were coming out. it was a major downgrade. That's why I didn't, collect like the first four waves, because
Oh wow.
I already had all those characters from when those movies were coming out. And then I saw that god awful very first Studio Series Optimus Prime from 2007 Transformers, and
Mhm.
it was horrendous. It was a heavy retool of the Transformers Prime first edition Optimus. That's
Oh,
the
was it? I didn't realize
Yes,
that.
that is the mold that they used, and they continued using that mold in the version 2 of the Studio Series Prime. Um,
Hmm.
I know that because I wanted that figure for so many years, and then eventually I got the APC Toys Optimus Prime, which is their
See, my
third party.
See, I didn't even realize the Optimus Prime, the very first Optimus Prime from Studio Series, was even a bad figure. Because I really enjoyed him. My first bad experience with Studio Series was that Bumblebee. That thing was terrible. It fell
Yeah,
apart in my hands every time I tried to transform it.
yeah.
Now they've since re-released it since then to where it's more stable, but I've already been burned on the original.
I think they were rushing a few of those out the door.
Yeah,
Um,
you cannot transform Studio Series Bumblebee, whatever he was. I don't remember, like two or three.
I think it was
Uh,
Studio Series 01 Bumblebee.
yeah, can't transform without falling apart. Impossible.
Yeah.
Now, I did
Um,
get the reissue that they did of it that made it more sturdy, but it's
I like the
annoyed me
Rise
that
of
I
the
had to buy
Beast
it.
Bumblebee. I like that one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think the primary reason why I didn't like Studio Series, was it Studio Series 3, 4, whatever that first Optimus was. The truck parts didn't end up where they were supposed to in the robot mode. Like
Oh yeah.
the front wheels of the truck ended up like on his side instead of his ankles,
Mm, I think you're
for
right.
example.
Been a while since I looked at mine, but I think you're right. I think it wasn't quite a perfect match, but to a point, I did give them a little bit of credit. It's their first run with Studio Series, their first few figures out. I expected a few hiccups, but man, that Bumblebee was a bad hiccup, real bad.
The windshield chest of Optimus was just horrendous. You
It
got those
was. It was
double
pretty bad.
hinges right there in the center of his chest.
Yeah. The Revenge of the Fallen that they did of it was definitely better.
Oh yeah, for sure. Better
Yeah, they definitely
abdomen,
fixed.
and yeah, it looked better.
Yeah,
But I'm also not a huge fan of faux parts either.
I'm not either.
Let's
Like
see.
I want the actual parts to show where they're supposed to end up.
Yeah,
Now I know sometimes with some of the Bayverse designs, they kind of got to sacrifice that. There's just no physical way to make that possible, but still.
right. Well, let's see. How long have we been recording here? I didn't actually look at the time when we started, but
Close
rough,
to an hour.
close to an hour. I think that's roughly where I want to like the time frame, about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. But I think 30 minutes isn't enough. Like we go on so many tangents. There's a lot of sweet stuff to talk about. Um, but I think an hour is typically where we will, mark it. I don't exactly have a timer, but um, we definitely plan on having one episode a week. Filming on Tuesdays. That's the current plan. So as far as we know right now, this is an ongoing series. We'll just keep it going as long as we can. But it's finally nice to actually do a collab with you. We've been talking about this for several months, and
We
uh,
have,
uh,
and I've been wanting to do this forever.
yeah, I think it
So
wasn't
this,
until I started YouTube where you're like, oh, okay, well, I think I want to do it now too, or
yeah,
continue
as I've
doing it.
been, I've literally made my YouTube account for years, and I was like, I'm going to do this one day, and then I just never did. And then I saw that you started doing it. I'm like, well, maybe that'll be some good motivation to make me do it. And my first video did so well, and then my past two videos I just did have tripled what my first video did. So it's kind of surprising for me, honestly.
Yeah, and if you ever reach a point where, you know, like, don't focus on the view numbers. Just no matter what, if you like making videos, just do it. Just keep uploading. If you feel discouraged in any way by anyone or anything, best advice I can ever give you is the same advice that I got from watching Alfonso Nation. Um, keep uploading. Just keep
Yeah.
uploading.
Is it just me, or does have Alfonso Nation really slowed down on uploading anything?
I've had this thing in my head thinking, oh, I gotta upload at least one video a week,
That's where I'm at.
just to keep a solid schedule. I think he uploads like once or twice a month or something like that lately. I think it's more of a sporadic schedule. It's whenever he decides, he wants to make a video or whenever there's something worth talking about.
Makes
So
sense.
that way you don't stress over it. It's a hobby. That's exactly what I view my channel. I mean, getting paid is a bonus when I actually
Yeah.
get to have my paychecks, but
I haven't got to that point yet.
it happens quicker than you think, and I think it's all about building your audience and staying connected with them. And
Yeah.
I've said several times on this channel just how grateful I am to the audience I have. And I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I've actually had a channel for like 8 or 9 years, but not this channel. My original channel, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Originally, I made a bunch of funny moment gaming videos of Star Wars Battlefront, Grand Theft Auto, Dying Light, that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but I never had the equipment. All I had was a PlayStation 4 and a shitty headset, and it sounded like dog shit. And I just decided, you know what? Nah, my heart's not in it right now. So, yeah, that's basically what happened. But I was watching channels like, Optibotimus, Alfonso Nation, not so much Optibotimus anymore, but MGO. But ultimately, it was the Alfonso Nation that inspired me to want to do it because, before I met you, I didn't really have any friends to talk about Transformers, and this was my outlet. So,
Right.
so
And
that's my story.
I've never really had a whole lot of people to talk to either about it. So this podcast thing we got going on here, this talk, this pretty nice de-stressor after work.
Yeah, yeah, big time. And having a buddy to actually share this with, of course, aside from the audience, I love engaging with the audience because it doesn't. I no longer feel isolated. Like in my area, I thought I was the only Transformers, Star Wars super nerd out there. So,
Nope.
yeah, I knew that wasn't the case, but I'd never imagined meeting somebody with a basement like yours, living in the same town as me. So,
Much less like a couple blocks away.
yeah. So, in case you guys are wondering, we also enjoy doing lots and lots of toy hunts. So, in the future, you will definitely be seeing us doing toy hunts together. So, I know that is exactly what my audience loves the most. I made a post, and that was the biggest thing. So, I don't make those toy hunt videos as often as I would like, but our area is kind of shit. So,
Yeah, that's why we have to go to other areas that are slightly bigger.
right. So, one day we will make some more as often as we actually find some new stuff, some things worth recording. But yeah, this show will continue on once a week. At least that's the plan anyway. But yeah,
To the unforeseen future.
see where it goes. And
Yep,
this is basically the start of something special, I think.
I think so.
But until next time, thank you very much for joining me today, Megazord Prime. And I will see you next week.
Sounds good.
So, to all you guys out there, thank you very much for watching. And be sure to check out Megazord Prime's channel. The link will be down in the description if you wouldn't mind sending it to me. So, I'll go ahead and put that up here. So, thanks again, man. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.